town, two kids about to grow. And I noticed there's a change, and your glance became so strange. It made us invisible. What have we become inside this happy home? Out of sight and out of life, you found the man, I found the wild. But what's still in our hearts must stay. What's still in our hearts must stay invisible. And your perfume hasn't changed, and I'm feeling so deranged. 1,000 memories in my mind, I feel like I just cannot hide. I wanna be invisible. What have we become inside this happy home? Out of sight, out of life, you found the man, I found the wife. But what's still in our hearts must stay. Yeah, what's still in our hearts must stay invisible. There's a parallel universe for us, a tiny tear in time, where the time was always right for us, where you were mine when you stand so close to me in the firelight. It's all so clear, but we can't get there from here. But chance I touched your hand, and for a moment we were sent through a window in town to a place where you and I were just invisible. What have we become inside this happy home? Out of sight, out of life, you found the man, I found the wife. But what's still in our hearts must stay. Yeah, what's still in our hearts No matter what I do, I'll still be second best to you. I'm trying to be better, but I'll never measure up to her. We fought until the dawn, and by the morning I was gone. Your love was just a lie. Now it's over without a single goodbye. I thought I was clever, I thought you were smart. I didn't expect a broken heart. I saw in your eyes what I wanted to see, and now I move on with only me. Packing up, moving on. Not sad to see you gone. I hate the side you showed. Now I'm leaving, driving down the road. Moving in, the walls so bare. I wonder if you ever cared. What to do with all this time makes me want to, have to, finally shine. I thought I was clever, I thought you were smart. I
I just think it's a spectacular place. I love these high rocks. There's so much rock here. The waterfalls, the beautiful green lake.
If we're all aspiring publishers and writers, there will always be room for more books.
We all have to work for money. If I didn't have to, I probably wouldn't work for money. You know, I could do a lot of things I'd rather do than this.
When the days are nice and the seas are calm, there's a strong temptation among many of us to put everything else aside and head out into the southeast Alaska wilderness. And particularly on the nice days, when some of us who think we spend too much time working indoors work at trying to figure out how to spend more time out of doors. Hello, I'm Scott Foster, and welcome again to Rain Country. Unfortunately, some people are able to get out into the country only on weekends or on vacations. But there are others who have made different choices, and as a result, they're able to spend at least all of the summer on southeast waters.
Oh, here comes a boat. They come around the corner, sort of head in this direction and slow way down. If he pulls up one pole, it's a dead giveaway. He's got to pull up a pole and get up next to the scow here.
Those fishing the waters around Jacoby Island have several choices on where to sell their fish. They can travel to nearby Pelican, or they can sell to one of several fish buying scows, like the Shoreline, located conveniently near the fishing grounds.
Yeah, for people that day sell, you know, it's real important. But like for me, I'm going to Pelican anyway. I'm going to have to clean the boat and get ice. But just the same, it's one less step in town, you know, to unload your fish. I just soon do it here. Going to town, sometimes there's quite a line, you know, to unload, so they'll just pitch off here. You lose about a nickel or maybe 7 cents a pound.
Okay, 35 cohos.
Jenny Porter runs this scow. She had worked on a fishing trawler for 8 years and spent a summer working on the slime table in Pelican. There, she heard about an opportunity working on an old fish buying scow called the Incredible Hulk. She got the job and found that running a scow has its advantages.
Well, for one thing, you don't have to stand in one place all day and slime fish. You can walk around, move around, you know, and I'm the boss out here pretty much. I mean, I do, you know, answer to Eric Norman in town, but basically I get to say what happens out here, and you know, run the place. Okay, let's see here. Log jam, category 1, Bravo, and category 2, Bravo.
As the scow's operator, Porter takes care of the paperwork, orders supplies for the small grocery store, and supervises the crew. This year there were 2 deckhands, each working only part of the fishing season.
When a boat comes, what I usually do first is take the hose and wash down the 2 trays and the scoops so that when the fish slide in, they'll have an easy shot. When the boat ties up, sometimes I help tie up, depending on who's down here first, and put the tray up against the boat, and then the fishermen throw the fish into the tray, and Jenny usually does the sorting and the weighing. And then what I do is take the fish and put them in these totes. I put a layer of ice in the bottom, and then I put the fish in, so where the heads are out like this, and put like a row of them on each side, and then fill up their bellies with ice. I usually take about 3 buckets and fill up their bellies, and then I just keep layering that until we get to the top, and put one big other coating of ice, and that's pretty much it.
For the most part, the work is pretty routine: sort fish, weigh fish, and ice fish. But the workload varies with the number of boats and the amount of fish they carry.
The other day, a guy came by early in the morning. He'd gone fishing and his boat wasn't running right, so he came in. He had 10 humpies and a couple of sockeyes, you know. That was a very small load. On the other hand, a guy might be out for 4 days. He has, you know, a trip. He's got 400 fish. That's kind of the spectrum from the least to the most, you know.
The boats or the days or whatever, it depends on how much work we have to do. Sometimes it's slow, we get 1 or 2 totes. Sometimes it's crazy and we'll have 14. The norm, if there is a norm, is around 3 or 4 in the afternoon the boats will come in and we'll quit working about 9:30 or 10. And that would be a nice average day. But you never know. Sometimes they come before we're out of bed and then they go, usually they don't come in past 10, though one time we had somebody at 11:30 and we went to bed at 2, so it just depends.
While running the Incredible Hulk, Porter jokingly suggested to a friend that she build her own scow. Pelican Seafoods was interested in leasing another scow, so the humorous suggestion became reality. Porter formed a partnership with John Clausen and another friend. They built the Shoreline.
And it's kind of like old-time fish buying scows, too. They were built on scows, you know, real scows. This isn't actually a scow. Scow, I think, is a wooden hull, you know, that's sloped up, and it's actually made for towing, you know, hauling something on maybe. And they turned those into buying stations, just built buildings on them, and most of them had living quarters up above. And it's kind of an old-fashioned design that seemed to work. And then we made it a little bigger. Got all the comforts of home, everything, really. We have 12-volt lights for when the generator's not on. And I could probably run them all night. I don't know. We have those big Cat batteries, 8Ds or something. I don't know. It's the one that runs our lights and radio and just household stuff.
The scow has its own sauna, hot tub, and laundry. Water comes from a nearby stream. Porter has added a greenhouse that provides some extra summer color, and when things are slow, there's always something to see or do.
Oh, look at that. Oh, boy. Look at that. He's kind of shaking the water off of his wings. Nah, I never get bored. I rarely get bored. Anywhere I am, I don't get bored. I read, if nothing else, you know. I can always read. And I like to read. I don't have enough time to read. I have been doing a little bead work lately, messing around, making some earrings, but I don't know. I don't get bored very easy.
This year I went with the attitude that I'm going to make myself do certain things. I kind of like set up a routine of certain things that I would try to accomplish each day. And if I don't get those done, that's fine, but it's just kind of a mental check-off list, like the exercise bike, for instance. Make myself get exercised and make myself do a journal writing, or, you know, have certain little things that I have to do ritualistically each day. These are what I'm going to do so that I won't get that isolated or that bored feeling. When we're not busy and we kind of get the feeling that it's not going to be a busy day, we can take the skiff and just kind of mosey on around the corner and go in the different inlets and look around. Sometimes we even beach up and hike around, pick berries, beachcomb, hike up in the muskeg, which is a kind of a fun thing to do.
Hikes to the muskeg or shore excursions are always short because the scow crew must be on the lookout for the next boat. But that's all part of the job.
We all have to work for money. If I didn't have to, I probably wouldn't work for money. You know, I could think of a lot of things I'd rather do than this. And, you know, I only have to do it for 3 months of the year. This actual part of it, there is maintenance on the thing, which probably takes at least a month, but you know, it's pretty good. The number one thing that's important to me is where I am. I want to be where I want to be, and I don't want to have to. That's more important to me than the job I do, really, you know. And I think that's true anyway. And you know, some art-related things, or maybe even working in gardens or something, would be neat. But I'd probably have to live where there's a lot more people. And I don't really want to. You know, I like being out there in the middle of nowhere.
Many people who have chosen to live in Alaska have developed a strong love for this land. Bob Henning is one of those. What makes Henning unique is how he has shared his feelings with others. Since 1958, Henning has published Alaska Magazine and more than 150 books about Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. Although he sold the publishing company and magazine in the late 1980s, Henning remains President Emeritus of the Alaska Geographic Society. Publishing and his Alaska experience have left Henning concerned about the future.
The great scarcity of knowledge, not necessarily in the book sense, but in the reception and in the schools and in the business quarters, in the legislators, the government, the people who are managing Alaska have very little basic knowledge of the natural resources themselves. And it's understandable that it's difficult to come by because there's so much to read and there's so much area to cover.
From Henning's point of view, the way to learn about Alaska is to understand geography. He teaches what he calls whole earth geography.
The geography definition should be simply the study of the world around us, for which there are no limits. And that's the first thing to understand about geography, that it is not a map of some place. It's all the world in which we live and how we live.
Henning has divided his world between the publishing business in Edmonds, Washington, and a home in Nagoon, the only community on Admiralty Island. It's a place where Henning can fish in his old Maine lobster boat. It's also a place where he wants to put into practice what he's learned about geography, resource development, and the need for planning that looks ahead 100 years.
The eternal question is a tree worth more standing in its infinite beauty or as a board in a lumber yard? Now, certainly there has to be balance in between, but perhaps the time will come when we won't use wood in the same way we used it before. A 100-year plan will take those things into consideration.
To help with the planning, Henning eventually hopes to turn his Nagoon home into headquarters for a wilderness research institute to protect Admiralty's wilderness.
Well, I think it should be run by a local group of people who own land and have a history of relationship to this land, as opposed to distant overseers as we've had too many times in the past for Alaska. We who live with the land should know it better, and if our hearts are in the right place, we ought to be able to plan for its future.
For Henning, seeking and disseminating knowledge is crucial for the future. It's a task he plans to continue with his own writing, and one he knows others will also continue.
And somebody else will produce some more, and hopefully they'll get a lot more of it done than we could. We never even scratched the surface. That I think is the legacy, if there is such a thing, is that for all aspiring publishers and writers, there will always be room for more books, more articles, more information. Certainly we never get enough knowledge.
the snow, it glistens like 1,000 lights. Don't know how much more I can take of the cold nights. Silence sits at the table, still as the salt. If I break through these four walls, could it be my fault? Go with me to the sultry air, hear the song in my ear. Can music fill all the times in space? Show the reason I'm lost in the race. I remember February. Sometimes I'd like to forget, oh, that anniversary, what it all meant. But to hear that song they sing to me in the mountains and streams, they're coming from the four directions, giving me the ways and the means. Flow with me to the sultry air, hear a song ringing in my ear. The music fill all the times in space, show the reason I'm lost in the race. Hear the song ringing in my ear. The music fill all the times in space, show the reason I'm lost in the race. Flow with me to the sultry air, hear the song ringing in my ear. The music fill all the times in space, show the reason I'm lost in the race. The music fill all the times in space, show the reason I'm lost in the race.
Southeasterners like to get out into the country, and when a trip takes them overnight, one of the easiest places to stay is in a Forest Service cabin. There are nearly 150 of these public-use cabins spread throughout southeast Alaska in the Tongass National Forest. These rental cabins sleep between 4 and 6. Some are so popular they're reserved half a year ahead of time for virtually every day during the summer and into the fall deer hunting season. One of the most popular cabins in the Juneau area is on Turner Lake. One reason for the popularity of the West Turner cabin is its accessibility to Juneau. It's just 18 miles east of Juneau up Taku Inlet. Some take a boat there at high tide and then walk 8/10 of a mile to the cabin. Many, like Steve and Ann Kessler, make the quick trip by float plane.
We've been here before once, and I just think it's a spectacular place. I love these high rocks. There's so much rock here. The waterfalls, the beautiful green lake. It's just like a little hideaway, just tucked away, a little jewel to me. It's just really special.
Another part of this trip that's special is the Kesslers are bringing Matthew, their newly adopted 3-month-old baby. Both Steve and Ann have been active outdoors for years, and having a baby seemed no reason for them to change.
You know, the people at work were a little bit surprised because maybe they don't do this sort of thing and they thought it was kind of ambitious. Our close friends, I don't think, were as surprised because they know we like to do the outdoors and we're anxious to bring Matthew into that lifestyle with us. It's like a little railroad engineer.
The Kesslers realized taking a small infant would require some extra precautions, so they did extra planning and packing.
You have to do a lot of thinking ahead. You have to think of now, what are the possibilities? What are we going to need for him? This trip is just a couple-day trip, and it's or a 3-day trip, and it's really just sort of a test to find out, well, what are some problems we might get into, and what did we forget this time, and what more stuff do we need to bring next time?
Like other Forest Service cabins on lakes, this one has skiffs. There are also fish in the lake. So it's not long before the Kesslers are ready to give both a try.
I'll have to remember how this goes. Okay, this goes over.
This goes through the sleep?
No.
For an outdoor couple who are used to taking care of themselves, having to take care of a small child means a change in many ways, including the pace.
Last time we were able to go a little faster and get in and out, just kind of push off the boat a little faster, and now we're just a little more careful on how we handle ourselves, and got that life vest for him, so we have to make sure that he's all belted in there. So, but other than that, I think it was pretty similar to what we've done before. I wouldn't want to have him out in extreme conditions, or we can't really put on a raincoat on him yet, or rain cover. Real heavy rainfall would be kind of a problem, and cold would be a problem, trying to cover up his hands because he can't keep himself warm like we can as well because he's not really moving as much.
Man, look at the waterfall. It comes all the way from up there. It's fun to crawl up to the top there and see if there's a lake or something up there. Hey, Matt, you ready for it?
One of the attractions of Turner Lake is the fishing. There's cutthroat, dolly varden, and kokanee in the lake.
Make a beginning of a little bit of dinner. How many more do you want?
Oh, maybe 3 or 4.
Despite the attractions on the lake, the biggest attraction on this trip is Matt. For Steve, this outing is part of a larger picture.
Well, hopefully Matthew will continue to do the types of things, and likely continue to do the types of things that we like to do, come out in a wilderness type setting, and we have every intention of raising him that way. So hopefully this will be just the first of many trips that he'll be on with us.
Okay, tie us up there.
Okay, okay.
But, you know, he's a little fragile still, and we want to take good care of him. So I didn't go all the way up through. Ann went up and did the exploring for us, and then we would take turns, and then she would hold the baby, and I could go up. Well, this is sort of the test for us, and we haven't taken him camping yet. We've had him out in the boat. We've been out fishing in our skiff with him, and we've been out flying with him in a small airplane. He's been to Skagway twice already, and he's been on a tour of the Juneau ice field. He just seems to sleep through it all, though. He doesn't quite appreciate the way everybody else does yet.
There's time during this 3-day, 2-night trip for hikes for berries and hikes for fishing. It's less than a mile from the West Turner cabin on the lake to the river on the flats, where it flows into Taku Inlet.
Won't necessarily keep any of these fish, but catching a few of them just makes the whole trip more exciting.
Even if the fishing is exciting, Matt's needs are an important consideration in what, when, and how fast other things happen. And that's certainly true at supper time at the cabin.
One of the things we had to think about in coming here was the fact that we wouldn't have all the conveniences of home, so we did do a little bit extra preparation so that boiling water and making the formula was not such a problem. Yeah, I think we should make up all the bottles, even the ones that we don't fill up.
Oh, well, Matthew's a few months old, and he certainly is ready to be taken out into the wilderness. I don't know about into the wilderness. We wouldn't be ready to camp with him out in the rain in a tent right now. But as far as staying in a cabin and in a relatively not so primitive type place that we are here, he's pretty easy to take care of.
He likes to stay up pretty much at night, and we probably won't go to bed much earlier than usual because it seems like if he can stay up a little later, then he might be able to sleep through the night, and we all like that. So our evening will be pretty quiet. I guess my inspiration comes from people who lived in older days when we didn't have electricity, and our grandparents grew up and our great-grandparents, and they did just fine. And so to me it's like just doing it with less convenience, but it's still really worth it. So I would encourage anybody to come out and do this. It's a lot of fun. This isn't the most difficult thing we've done by any means, but it'll still be a really nice memory of our first outing as a family with a child. It'll be something we'll really treasure a long time.
Thanks for joining us on another adventure in rain country that concludes this time here at beautiful Turner Lake. We'll be back again next week at the same time and continue our travels to another scenic southeast location, and you're invited to join us then. We leave you this time where the fresh water of Turner Lake flows into the grassy marshes and eventually into the salt water of Taku Inlet. I'm Scott Foster. Have a good day.
the blue of the sea, the evening sky, the mountain lakes, and the flowers nearby, the gold of the early sorrow's dream, the precious gold of the hills and streams, the brilliant stars in the night.